What's up, Giants fans? At it with our 2024 7-round mock draft for the New York Football Giants. It'll only be 6 picks, though. Giants do not hold a 7th-round pick this year. We'll talk about my predictions for who the Giants will take with each of their 6 picks. No trades in this mock. So before I get into that, folks, I want to quickly plug our social media channels. Make sure to check us out if you're new on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Big Blue Avenue. We appreciate all the love and the support from all our fans throughout the course of the season. So let's get into things, why don't we? So there's been rumors that the Giants are linked to one of 3 players at this point. Malik Nabers, receiver out of LSU, Odunze, receiver out of Washington, and Drake Maye, quarterback out of UNC, which would require a trade-up. Rumors are heating up this week. I think it's because at this point, everything has been exhausted content-wise. So, there's going to be some smoke out there. I do think the Giants would like Drake Maye if they were to take a quarterback in this draft, but ultimately, I don't think they do. I think in the first round, with pick number 6, the Giants curveball go with a wide receiver, but it's Odunze out of Washington, and here's why. If the order stays the way it is, the Chargers likely take Malik Nabers 6th overall. Not only do I think this is how the board might fall, I think Odunze is the better fit for the Giants, and I'll explain why. He's 6'3", 212. He's pretty quick for his size, 4.45 40-yard. His vertical is good, and he's a true X. You need a true X wide receiver. Malik Nabers resembles a lot of what they've had in the past with Odell, Sterling Shepard, Wan'Dale Robinson. He can play on the outside in the slot, Nabers, but I do think Odunze is the better fit here. He has a larger catch radius, and he's a very big-bodied guy. The Giants haven't had a super tall receiver in a while. That Kenny Golladay experiment did fail. So the Giants did have a top 30 visit with Rome. Las Vegas, Nevada native, very, very talented young man. And I'm excited for him in the NFL wherever he goes. I think he would be a good fit on the Giants because of his elite ball skills. Always great body control, caught a lot of phenomenal passes from Michael Penix Jr., reliable hand strength and timing. A lot of people say, why are you going with the Pac-12 receiver over the SEC receiver? Well, I think Odunze is what the Giants need. I do think ultimately he is the best pick here. And there's a quote that I read about Odunze: a team captain, a good leader, dependable. To me, that resonates with what the Giants are looking for: smart, tough, and dependable. And overall, I think he's relatively quick for a big guy. This past season, he led the FBS with a school record, 1,640 receiving yards with 92 catches and 13 scores. His average depth of target was phenomenal, forced 15 missed tackles, and had over 500 GAC yards, which is always huge. 2022 as well was another 1,000-plus yard season for him. He's a touchdown machine. He had 13 this past season, 20 over the past 2 years, and the Giants need a big body guy that can go up and get the contested catches, get those jump balls in the red zone, right? The Giants don't know where the future lies with Darren Waller. Now, he is a tight end, but you need an identity, right? And I think you need a number 1 receiver to help with the identity of this team. Saquon Barkley is gone. The Giants aren't drafting a running back in the first 2 rounds at least. So you really need to hone in on one of these 2 wide receivers to help out your quarterback, Daniel Jones, or whoever the quarterback may be moving forward. I think it's very instrumental to the Giants' rhythm and identity offensively to get this pick right. And I think Odunze is the best fit and pick long-term for the New York Football Giants. So that's my first round pick. My next pick, round number 2, I had a couple options here. I struggled. I thought of several different positions: corner, safety, defensive tackle, interior offensive line. Now, the Giants addressed interior offensive line in free agency, so I put that aside. Xavier McKinney was a second-round draft pick 4 years ago. Giants did not retain him. They have Jason Pinnock, Dane Belton, and Jalen Mills right now. I don't think the Giants value the safety position as a premium position. I think what you do is replace and develop with day 3 picks at safety, which is exactly what they got in Pinnock from the Jets and the Bills. It's exactly what they got in Dane Belton out of Iowa in the 4th round 2 years ago. I put safety aside. Next up, defensive tackle and corner. If you watched my mock draft last year, folks, I predicted Florida DT Gervin Dexter to the Giants. That did not happen. Giants drafted Dalvin Tomlinson in 2017. Not going to happen here. Defensive tackle is not a premium position for the Giants. Now, do they need help there? Oh, absolutely they do. I think the way you want to build this team is from inside out. And that goes with any successful football team. You need guys on both sides of the ball that can block and stop the run, that can get to the quarterback. And I think it starts with the Giants D-line. But, you're looking for that Leonard Williams replacement. I don't think it comes around to. I really wanted to take Braden Fisk here, but I did not. Again, they signed Jordan Phillips in free agency. Not that he's anything great, but remember, you got Raheem Nunez-Roches back to pair with Dexter Lawrence, and you're also bringing back DJ Davidson and Jordan Riley, 2 young developing players. It's possible that the Giants address it, but not here. I think you're going with the best player available, and you desperately need a corner to play opposite of Deonte Banks, and that is a premium position. You look at the wide receivers in the NFC East, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith in Philadelphia. You still got CeeDee Lamb over in Dallas. You have Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson over in Washington. So I went corner here with my second-round pick with Max Melton at number 47. Corner out of Rutgers, a local guy who played in the Big Ten. Senior, 5'11", 187 pounds, a versatile corner with plus instincts, good ball skills and aggressiveness, had 3 picks this last season. He is a New Jersey native. Mays Landing, he's fast. 4.39 40-yard dash. His 4 seasons at Rutgers were a success. 2020 started 6 games. 2021 led the team in picks. Put up some good numbers there too in his 10 starts. 2022, honorable mention, all Big Ten. Had 3 blocked kicks that year, started every single game, had a couple picks and 10 pass breakups. This last season, he was also honorable mention, all Big Ten. Started all 12 games, 3 picks, 7 pass breakups, 4 tackles for loss, by the way. And he's going up against receivers like Marvin Harrison Jr., Roman Wilson, Emeka Egbuka, guys like that. So for me, I really like Max Melton, what he did. By the way, this pick is from Seattle via the Leonard Williams trade. The Giants traded their other second-round pick, number 39, to the Panthers for Brian Burns. So Brian Burns is ultimately their 1 second and their other 5th-round pick. So Max Melton, I think, is a good player. My one concern about him, he's beaten too easily across the face on short yard slants. I mentioned this in my film breakdown of him, if you watch that on our YouTube channel too. But he's very athletic. He ranked 3rd among all corners in athleticism. Versatile. You can pair him on the outside and the inside. He's adequate in press. I think Shane Bowen would really like this guy a lot. Very aggressive with good ball skills. He's best when he's playing with his eyes forward from zone. He can make jump plays on the ball. He collaches the catch point very well. And he's also capable in run support too. A couple of the clips in the video that I broke down film on him, he was a very good tackler in open space. So I think that's something to keep in mind. Other than being beaten across the face, I think one other concern, look, this was back in 2021. This was not a good look. He got suspended 3 games. You could read and look into the incident if you want, but he's cleaned himself up since then. Melton's a very young and promising prospect. And yeah, I think him playing next to Banks is key. Again, not ideal to have a second-year player and a rookie starting, but they didn't do anything in free agency to address the position. Right now, Nick McLeod is slated to start across from Deonte Banks. That can't happen. I love Nick McLeod, but on special teams, not on defense. I think Cordell Flott is your slot corner. You got Aaron Robinson coming back from injury, but he was not a Joe Shane draft pick. And you have Darnay Holmes, who will be battling for a roster spot. It's not good enough. I like Max Melton here. I also considered Ennison Rakestraw Jr. I also considered Chris Abrams-Drain as well. So those were a few guys I considered. I ultimately thought Max Melton would be the pick. And I'll be honest, I don't know if he drops this far. But if he does, you take him. All right, next up, my round 3 pick. Again, considered several different positions here. Safety, DT, running back, tight end, quarterback. Ultimately, I went with the best player available, in my opinion, doing this mock. I know the Carolina Panthers are heavily invested in this guy, but we don't know the future of Darren Waller. At the time of this recording, Darren Waller just got divorced with Kelsey Plum. So he's going through a lot of personal stuff right now. You look at the Giants tight ends on the roster outside of Waller, considering he doesn't come back. It's Daniel Bellinger, third-year player, Jack Stoll and Chris Manhertz, 2 blocking tight ends, and then Lawrence Cager. That's not good enough. You need more depth. You need a guy that can go out there and catch the football, make blocks. And I think Ben Sinnott is the 3rd-round pick at number 70 overall. I have some trouble seeing him get past Carolina in the 3rd round. The Giants may have to trade up for this guy, or maybe trading back in the 1st round. We'll get them an earlier 3rd, late 2nd. But they did bring him in on a top 30 visit. 40-inch vert, 4.68 40-yard dash. His numbers at the combine were outstanding. His shuttle, his 3-cone. He's got a good build at 6'4", 245. This guy started playing hockey at 3 years old. I mean, his mother was a 4-star athlete. He's got good genes, and he's versatile. Knows when to cut his routes against coverage. Solid with his hands. Room for improvement there, but he is solid. Problematic player on fades and corner routes. He's an end zone threat. I think he's a richer version of Daniel Bellinger, and I think he'll be great. And he's got a good story, too. He walked on in 2020. 2021, he started 2 games with 12 games played. 2022 and 2023, back-to-back first-team All-Big 12. This past year, he was a 3rd-team AP All-American with 6 touchdowns, over 670 receiving yards. He's a red zone threat. He's improving with blocking. The concern is the physicality, right? You look at a player who comes in, he's 6'4", but he's under 250 pounds. Okay. Blocking duties near the line of scrimmage are my concern with this guy, right? You have Bellinger, who struggled with blocking last year, but was supposed to be a blocking tight end. He's a little bit of both. Jack Stoll and Chris Manhertz were brought in to be blocking tight ends. So, again, these are certain traits that are nitpicked. You draft the talent, and hopefully coaching fixes these little errors. You can't worry about these little concerns about players to this degree. Playing quicker and playing stronger will be key in the NFL. I think as far as blocking near the line, drop your pad level, play with inside hands more often. Don't get caught reaching with the arm extension on the outside. That's what tackles are supposed to do, not tight ends, right? You don't want to get beat. So I think Ben Sinnott is a good player that compare nicely with Daniel Bellinger, because right now I don't expect Darren Waller to come back next season, in my personal opinion. Next up, 4th-round pick. All right, so far we've addressed receiver, corner, and tight end. So we've gone 2 premium positions, 2 skill players on offense. So here I'm going to stick with the offense. At this point, I don't like the DTs that are on the board. I'm not really looking at edge rushers right now. I'm not really looking at safety at the moment. I think when I did this, Dadrion Taylor-Demerson just went off the board. I do like him here, but I'm still content with Pinnock and Belton. And I also think that the Giants will bring in another body. I think running back is the big need here. You have to get a running back to pair with Devin Singletary in the backfield. I took Sinnott in round 3 because Trey Benson and Blake Corum were off the board. Round 4, if this guy's sitting there, you take him. Audric Estime out of Notre Dame, a patient back, north-south guy, very good in short yardage situations, a local kid from Nyack, New York, had the top production score among his position at the combine. 23 bench press reps, a 1.58 10-yard split, and a 4.7 40-yard dash. Thickly muscled guy, wears out defenses. I think he's very good. Late stages of the game. Look, the Giants are transitioning to running back by committee post Saquon Barkley era. This is what you have to do. You need to draft a running back in the first 4 rounds. I think pairing him with Singletary is a great idea. Second team AP All-American this past season, rushed for over 1,300 yards, 18 touchdowns, third best in the FBS, and that's a single season school record for Notre Dame. He rushed for 238 yards against Stanford with 4 scores and had 6 100-plus rush yard games this season. And even last year, too, he had 11 touchdowns and over 900 rushing yards. So this guy's a bull. I like him a lot. He's got good feet. He's strong. He drops the pads well. Not really a one-cut runner, and his burst is a little lackluster, but it's okay if he doesn't have speed. He's not meant to have speed. Singletary is our quick back. Singletary is also capable of catching passes out of the backfield. Estime is, but he's not as good at it. He needs to improve his pass protection at the next level. But I love north and south old school backs, and Estime is like a bowling ball. Watch some of his film. I think you'll like what you'll see. So now the Giants running back room for 2024, Devin Singletary, Audric Estime, Eric Gray. Those are your 3. You can't go into 2024 with Eric Gray as running back 2. It just cannot happen. Again, folks, if you're watching this, we're not going to fix every position that we need in the draft. We only have 6 picks. So I'm basing it off of what Joe Schoen did in free agency and what holes were left that are most important. The next hole, 5th round, we're up to day 3. This pick was acquired via the Brian Burns trade. The Giants and Panthers swapped 5th round picks. This is pick number 166 in the draft. At this point, I'm looking. I thought of Christian Boyd, the DT out of Northern Iowa. I passed. I thought of a couple other guys too. I thought of quarterback Sam Hartman. Passed because I love this guy. The Giants need a reserve linebacker to pair with guys like Carter Coughlin, and then the other linebacker they brought in, whose name is slipping my mind at the moment. Please forgive me. But behind Bobby Okereke and Micah McFadden, Matthew Adams is the guy. You got Matthew Adams and Carter Coughlin. I think the Giants, you brought back Isaiah Simmons. He's more of a DB. You could even play him at safety this season if you'd like. I think Tyrus Knight, the linebacker out of UTEP, is the pick here at 166. 6-foot senior, 233 pounds. Had a top 30 visit with the Giants. I know the Bucs and the Seahawks are also looking at him. 11th ranked linebacker in the combine. Again, the linebacker class is kind of weak this year, but Tyrus Knight has decent speed, 4.63 40-yard dash. He's very durable. I looked at the injury history too. He's very durable. A 3-year starter, has veteran presence, racks up tackles very well. He does struggle outside the tackle box, but I'm impressed with what I see from him as a leader. Again, UTEP, not a prolific football program, but he's very, very solid. 140 tackles this past season, 6 passes defended, 4.5 sacks, and a forced fumble. Had over 100. He pretty much had around 100 tackles each of his last 3 seasons, with 140 this past season. So he's very, very good. He can get a sack here and there. His man cover talent is average. He's better in zone coverage, dropping back as a linebacker. But the reason why I wound up taking Tyrus Knight here is because of this quote, and I really liked what I heard. A team that really stood out to me during the interview process was the Giants. I had 2 meetings with them. We broke down some UTEP film together. Again, this was after they brought in Shane Bowen as their DC. I do think, Darian Beavers coming off the torn ACL. I don't know what he's going to be. Second year coming off of that. New defensive coordinator. Cam Brown walked. You replaced him with Matt Adams. That's all great. But the Giants' defense might transition to seeing more 3 linebacker looks. I think that is very possible. So Tyrus Knight could be a solid reserve here. Again, you're not going to get starting talent in the 3rd round. In the rounds of day 3 more often than not. So in the 5th round, I think Knight could be a solid backup in this lead and provide some good depth. Finally, I spoiled it. I'm going offensive line, 6th round, Michigan guard Carson Barnhart at pick 183. All right, my final pick of the draft. 23 years old, a 6'4" senior. Giants had a private meeting with this guy that was not really put out there to the public. 2nd team All Big Ten. He's 23. Last season had over 836 snaps. Gave up just 24 pressures, 4 sacks. Again, really good defenses in the Big Ten. Showcased really good ability at the Michigan Pro Day and the East-West Shrine Bowl. He was great at the Senior Bowl. He's got experience, versatility, played multiple positions at Michigan, which we'll get to in a moment. Had 13, the 13th highest score among guards in athleticism, 22 bench press reps at 5.21 40-yard. I like this guy because of his pole blocking. Watched film on him, really, really good. And he's an adequate technician on double teams. He's really good with his hands. Yeah, I just think he's got good placement if he can get the hand placement in time. I think that's why he's fallen this far to the 6th round. Lacks hand and foot quickness. That's what I just alluded to. He's not quick. His 2-hand punch needs to get better because his outside hand gets chopped away way too often. But let's take a look at his timeline. He spent 5 years at Michigan. 2019, 2 games at left tackle as a reserve. 2020, 4 starts at left tackle. 2021, 2 starts at left guard. So there's the versatility there. 2022, 10 games, 9 starts, all Big Ten honorable mention. And this past season for Jim Harbaugh's team, he started all 15 games. He was originally the right tackle. He shifted to right guard after they lost their starting right guard and Zach Zinter, who broke his tibia and fibula, and he did a fine job. I think Barnhart would be a very, very solid 6th round pick. Again, I'm not sold on Azudu and McKeithen. I think they were reaches in the 3rd round by Joe Shane 2 years ago. Neither one has panned out thus far, and they're injury prone. Carson Barnhart is a durable guard who's never had a significant injury, and I think he could be a solid pick in the 6th round. So we went Rome Odunze, wide receiver out of Washington in the 1st round. 2nd round, Max Melton, corner out of Rutgers. 3rd round, Ben Sinnott, tight end out of Kansas State. 4th round, Audric Estime, running back out of Notre Dame. 5th round, Tyrus Knight, linebacker out of UTEP. And in the 6th round, Carson Barnhart, guard out of Michigan. I don't love that I left out defensive tackle and safety in this draft, but I have to consider what the Giants did in free agency. They brought in Jalen Mills and Jordan Phillips. This team has a lot of holes. They need to prioritize certain positions. And on day 3, you're looking at depth of who is best left available. And I think where the Giants fall on the board lead me to taking guys like Knight and Barnhart on day 3. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? Maybe they'll take a quarterback number 1 overall and the whole draft just spirals. I'm not so sure what's going to happen. But, folks, I'm very excited for Thursday. Let me know what you think of my mock draft. Smash that like button. Make sure to subscribe. Ring the bell for notifications. Check us out on all of our social media on the ticker below. This has been my New York Giants 2024 mock draft. Appreciate you all tuning in. And without further ado, let's go Big Blue.